how to use Veo 3.1. Veo is the latest video generation model. But I'm also going to give you context into the ecosystems where Veo lives, which is Vertex AI. So with that, let me get started. So as I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit of Vertex AI. So Vertex AI has different layers. We start with our AI infrastructure. We use NVIDIA GPUs, but we also produce our own TPUs in-house. TPUs are the infrastructure that we use to train and host some of our Gemini models. And then on the data layer, we have different databases. We have BigQuery, we have cloud storage, all that can be integrated with Vertex AI. And then on the model, we have Model Garden. That is where we're going to focus on today. AI platform is, those are products that we produce our products as a service. We can talk a little more on that as well. And then on top of everything is agents and applications. So how do we use the models? How do we use the application and integrate them all together? I know that this is not very descriptive, so let me give you more of a representation of what is actually Vertex AI. And you will see at the bottom, we have our infrastructure, as I mentioned, GPUs and TPUs. In the data cloud, we have BigQuery, we have certain different data governance. On top of that, we have Security Command Center. So for Security Command Center, we provide certain services like asset inventory. You can do posture controls, AI vulnerabilities, threat detection, and much more services. Within the group, sorry, Asisa? Okay, I'll move on. So with Vertex AI, everything that is on the blue section. At the bottom, you have the govern and orchestrate. So because Vertex AI is an enterprise-grade platform, there are certain things that you need at scale. So things like identity, you can use IAM permissions to allow certain users to either have access to agents, models, or whatever you need to control. But also have like information, login, tracing, monitoring. For a lot of the gene media models like Veo, Imagen, Gemini, we give you those tools by default. So for example, you can go into cloud monitoring and see what has been your first latency for first token, error rate, provision throughput, all of that within our monitoring dashboards that you get by default. Today, we are focusing on the model garden. As you can see, there are certain sections. So first is the Gemini models. This is like Gemini 2.5, Gemini 3.0 that just came out. The Pro is still in preview. Those are first-party models. The second is the generative media models. That is the focus of today, which is Veo, Imagen, Lyra, all of the media generation. And then we have partner models. One of our strong partners is Anthropic. So you can get access to Sonnet 5, Opus 4.5 directly through Vertex AI Model Garden. And then we have open models, which is model as a service. So what we do is we take some of the open source models, we host it with our own GPUs or TPUs, and then you can access them via API calls, and you only pay for the tokens that you use. We also have an integration with Hugging Face. So if you find a model in Hugging Face that you want to host within Vertex AI in your environment, we also have integrations for that. And we allow you to select the hypercomputers that you need. That is like an L4 GPUs, A100s, or GB200s, which is the latest GPU as well. You have the flexibility to select the infrastructure to host. And then lastly, we have embedding task-specific models and APIs. And again, there is so much more to explore, but that will be the focus of today. As I say, models is going to be within the models is going to be Gen Media on Vertex AI. So with Gen Media, we have 3 pillars. We have image, so you can use Gemini 2.5 Flash or Gemini 3 Pro image. So externally, that's also called Nano Banana. So we call it Nano Banana 2.5 or Nano Banana 3.0. And then you have Imagen. Imagen is image generation alone, but that is our most robust to have high quality images. For video, we have VO2 and VO3. The latest models is VO 3.1. And then within VO 3.1, we have two model types. You have the standard, and then we have the VO 3.1 fast. Fast is a smaller version of the standard model. And with that, you generate lower latency, lower costs, but maybe the quality will be a little lower as well. So depending on your use cases, you can use between standard or fast. In terms of audio, because in a lot of the videos that you want to generate, for example, for ads, you need to have background music, you need sound effects. There's a lot of things that you need to finish a ad, for example, right? So we have three models for that. You have Gemini Live. Within Gemini Live, the model that you use is the Gemini text to speech. We have that for the Gemini 2.5, but also the preview models. Within Sherp is our oldest enterprise-grade text-to-speech. That is what most companies have been using for years. The quality in there is great. With Sherp, you also can do voice cloning. So let's say you have a voice actor that you want to use to clone their voice and then generate all the narrations for all your ads. You can do that with Sherp, and is the only service that allows you to clone the voice for now. And then Lyria or model to generate music and sound effects. I'll show you a little bit of what you can generate as well. Cool. I know it's a lot of models, so I'm going to go in depth a little bit more before I can show you examples of what you can generate. As I mentioned, Gemini 3 Pro just came out a couple of weeks ago. Right now, the Nano Banana for Gemini 3 is in public preview, so you can access it today. What is great about this is that it has a higher resolution. It can do multi-image composition. This is great if you, for example, have to augment a catalog. You can have multiple items from your catalog and then create an ad using those products. So we have seen a lot of usage in that. The other is you can connect to search. So let's say you want to create a poster for a race for a specific country. You can just generate the prompt. And I will do a grounding on Google search to see what were the results, and also get images so that you can generate all the pictures. And without doing anything else, you get this up-to-date poster that you can use. The other thing that is very useful is translation. So let's say you have a poster in English, but then you have to localize that in multiple languages. Just with a simple prompt, you can have the same poster in multiple languages, keeping the entire poster as it is, but just changing the text. Okay, the next one, which is for image, is Imagen 4. So you can generate images with Nano Banana, but the quality is a little lower than Imagen, because Imagen is just for image generation. So the quality in itself is much higher. And then we have different versions of Imagen. You have the standard version, and then you have the ultra version. Even though it's a little more expensive, the ultra version has the highest quality. This is great if you need first frame or last frame for references when you generate videos. So if you want to make a movie style, so you might need a higher image. And then you have Imagen for fast. This is if you need to get something with lower latency. If you need to generate hundreds or thousands of images, latency is a requirement. You can use for fast, which is lower cost, lower latency, but again, the quality might be a little lower. So you have to choose for your specific use case. As I mentioned, Lyria 2, this is to generate music. So let me play some for you. But yeah, so when you create ads and you need to use a background music, sometimes you need to pay some of the copyright to use those songs. So instead, if you don't want to do that and you want to create your own background song, you can use Lira 2 to generate. And then you can also have a very opinionated, prompt guide on how the sound, how the music should sound to match to your ads. So it's a great feature and a great model. Let me move to the next. And then the last one is Gemini TTS or Gemini Live. As I mentioned, you can generate text to speech with this model. And this is great if you have a narration that you have to do for a video. If you just generate the audio through Veo, the audio might be inconsistent across all videos. So instead, what most customers do is generate the narration using Gemini text-to-speech, and then you put on the video on top. Let me show you some of the audio that TTS.
In the ancient land of Eldoria, where skies shimmered and forests whispered secrets to the wind, lived a dragon named Zephyrus. Not the burn it all down kind, but he was gentle, wise, with eyes like old stars. Even the birds fell silent when he passed.
Okay, so now that you have seen all the little components that you can use when generating videos, let me show you what Veo 3.1 specifically offers right now. So as you might have seen, Veo 3.1 is on first place for text to video and image to video generation. And as I mentioned, we have two versions. So you have the full Veo 3.1 audio model, and then you have a fast model, which is a smaller, cheaper model with lower latency. I wanted to explain what was Vertex AI first, because you saw all the ecosystems, all the controls, all the infrastructure that comes with Vertex. And because this model is offered through Vertex AI, you get all of those benefits by default. When you go and search for Veo 3, how to get started, we do have two platforms. And I want to be clear on that. So you can either use it on Google AI Studio, or you can use it through Vertex AI. Google AI Studio is a platform maintained by DeepMind, so they are mostly focused on research and getting models out. And sometimes the preview models will be offered in Google AI Studio first, so that we get some feedback. And then whenever we are going to do a public preview, then we offer it in Vertex AI as well. With Gemini 3, that is an exception because Gemini 3 is preview, but is offered in both platforms already. However, Google Studio, because it is not meant for large enterprises, we do have some system limits that we define there. So for Veo specifically, the limit is 500 videos a day. That is if you're in the tier 3 of Google Studio, and that is a system limit. That's not a limit that you can increase. If you do want to produce more than 500 videos a day, then you do have to migrate to Vertex AI and use Veo through Vertex AI. And why so? It is because you have a lot more scalability capacity. So as I mentioned, we have plenty of GPUs and TPUs that we have in our backend that we use to serve those models. And because of that, we do not enforce those 500 videos a day limit in Vertex AI. What you are going to have a request per minute limit that you can request to increase through your console. So for example, if you need to increase it to like maybe 20, 50 requests per minute, you can do so. My recommendation will be always contact your account manager, and then the custom engineer assigned to you can help you get those approval for you. In terms of the as you saw from the first couple of slides, Vertex AI gives you all the controls that you use, like IAM permissions. You can use your network setup as well, set up VPC service controls to create perimeters across your databases with the models that you use. You do so as well. So very secure enterprise grade features. In terms of safety, we have two things. So we have safety filters. Um, some filters can be edited in your API calls. So for example, if you use block none, it allows you to bypass some safety filters. But if you need to, for example, allow video to generate child, if you, for example, are making a family movie and you need to generate children in the video, those are things that you have to work with your account manager to remove it. It is possible, but it's case to case, and we will have to review what type of controls you implement in your side so that we relax ours in our end. The other thing in terms of safety is synth ID. You can generate watermarking when you generate your own content so that you know that those has been produced by your system. And then lastly, for protection, this is very common for Imagen and Lyria, which is if you generate the content from those models, they shouldn't be copyrighted. So if you get any claims on copyright, we can always assist you to overcome those issues. Okay, in terms of Vue 3.1, the specs, in terms of input, you can either use text to image, image to video, text to video, image to video, or reference to video. For text to video, you don't have much control on how it's gonna look like besides the prompting. So sometimes you already have a picture that you wanted the video to start with and then generate the rest. That will be image to video. And then if you have already characters or something that you can reference, you can provide up to 3 images to conserve those characters in the video. The last use case is interpolation. So let's say you already have a first frame and last frame on how the video should end. Then you can use interpolation where you provide the first and last frame and we generate the rest. I'll show you some examples for that as well. In terms of output, as I mentioned, Vue 3.1 now allows audio. So audio synchronization, dialogue, will produce sound effects, anything that you need for depending on the prompt that you use. In terms of quality, you have 2 options, 720p or 1080p, full HD. You only have one speed, which is 24 frames per second. And then the length is something that you can choose when calling the API, 4, 6, or 8 seconds. And then you have the option to extend a video. So depending on the use cases that you have, for example, let's say you want to extend the Fox video that you're seeing right now, but you don't have a last frame or on how the video should end. You can just extend it, and then using your prompts, you can, let's say, generate the next fraction of the video that the Fox will jump out of the train, for example, or something like that. But you don't have the last frame. So those are where the extend increments works really well. And then the aspect radius, we added a vertical. So before we only supported horizontal, but we got really good feedback that, especially for social media, you do need to generate vertical videos. So we included that. And then lastly, the synth ID that we already discussed. Okay, so let me go through some of those features more in details and then show you the videos that you can generate. So this is a reference to video. So we provided the model, some clothing and accessory, and then the place where we wanted the video to be. Let me go.
Hello, is anybody here? What's going on?
Okay, as you saw, it took 7 different items. So it was a model, it was a lot of the clothing and accessories, and then the background as well from the reference. Let me go to the next. So in this, we wanted to reference the style of the film, and then the characters. And you can either have this as like photographs, or you can also just use Imagen 4 to generate this, to pass it along to view. So this first prompt is for the guy to talk.
Of all the offices in this town, you had to walk into mine.
And then this is a woman's response.
You were highly recommended.
And again, both of the voices, background sounds, and even effects like the steps in the wooden floor were all generated by VO. We didn't have to add any of those sounds post effect. Okay, let me go to the next. Okay, so for first and last frame, this is one of the examples that I was referring to, where you do have the first frame, how the video should start, and then you have the last frame, how the video should end. But you use prompting to then generate the video to move from first frame to last frame.
When you look me in the eyes, I can see a million stars.
Perfect. Okay, so this is an example for video extend by 7 seconds, where I didn't really have a last frame or how I wanted the video to end. So I generated first one video, and then I just extended it to show the first part is a DJ that was just playing, and then the second part is moving the camera to see who is dancing in the crowd. So let's see if you spot where the extension happened. And this was very easy to make. The first video was just a prompt, and then the second part was just an extend request. This is another example where there's 3 extensions in here. Let's see if you can catch where the extensions happens.
Fancy new digs, Sheldon?
Just a little something to express my inner artist, Pinchy.
This is the second video, and then the third extend also. Okay, perfect. And then this is an example where we only had a photograph of a man. So we just generated image to video.
Just a little further.
So when you do image to video, you have less control on how it's going to end. So your prompt has to be a little more detailed and guided. And then this is text to video, where we don't provide any references at all. And then VO will just work from your prompt. Okay. So those are the VO3 features. There are some features that we're also publishing, but for VO2. And one of them is remove an object. So with VO2, you can provide a source video and then remove certain things from that video. In this case, we wanted to remove the dinosaur, and it was very quick. It took us 2 minutes to remove something from an existing video. Let me go to the next. And just as it is easy to remove an object, it is very easy to add an object as well. You can add flowers, cats, mask, or a guy right in front of you. Okay, so those are the features. So let me go through some of the VO3 customer stories where I'm going to show you real ads that has been produced using VO. So one of them is a Adobe. As you may know, Adobe integrated Veo 3.1 through their platform, so you can actually use those features through them. So this is a video that they generated with Veo. Another great customer story is eToro, which is a investing platform, and they wanted to generate a lot more content that was described with characters. So let me show you some of the ads that they generated.
When you invest with eToro, you start seeing investors everywhere. You see, eToro really is everywhere.
Join more than 40 million people worldwide and invest anytime, anywhere with eToro.
And you may be asking yourself, like, how long does it take to generate some of those ads? It doesn't take much. If you need to do it old school, which is, you have to hire someone that's going to film it, actors, get a place where you're going to be filmed. Like, it can take several days. Some of these ads has been generated in like 1 or 2 days. It does takes a lot of revision of your prompts so that you get all the objects and aesthetics as you want. But in terms of time, it cuts times for like 90% for some of our ads. This is, for example, a real ad that was played in the NBA Finals. It was produced by one person with between 2 to 3 days. And as I mentioned, they went through 400 generations of their prompts to get 15 usable clips. And then this is the ad that they played.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC!
Indiana got that dog in them!
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year?
Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S.
OKC!
Indy! OKC!
Oh, is the video not playing? Oh, sorry, I didn't see the comments until now. Okay, let me try this again.
Yeah, it was just audio, it wasn't a video, but yeah, we can try again.
Okay, let me try that again.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC!
Indiana got that dog in them!
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year?
Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S.
OKC!
Indy! OKC!
Okay, perfect. I don't know the exact price, Mingwit, but because I didn't work on this precisely, but they did compare to some of the ads that they generated before, and it was a 95% cost reduction. It only took one person a couple of hours a day, and then they produced it within 3 days. Okay, cool. Let me move along. So you saw mostly the ads, but we have multiple use cases where you don't have to necessarily generate ads to use Veo. This is another ad where they use multiple models. That's why I want to cover this. So they use Gemini 2.5 Pro for the ideation. They use Gemini 2.5 Flash image to generate the different references that they use for the video generation. They use Veo 3 to generate the video, and then they use Gemini Flash TTS for the audio. So let me show you the results. And let me know if you can see the video.
Ever have a craving so big, it feels larger than life? A craving for the perfect burger, the perfect fries, and the ultimate ketchup to bring it all together? Introducing Sunstone, a premium crafted ketchup made from heirloom tomatoes. It's time to bring that epic flavor back to reality. Sunstone Ketchup, unreal taste for real life.
Yeah, and this is a great example on how the Gemini Flash text-to-speech made the voice very consistent across the entire video instead of relying on the audio generated by video for each of those pieces. So that's how you can link those models together. Okay, let me move to the next one. So this is another example on how to use multiple models. And again, they use Gemini for the ideation. They use Imagen to produce the model to use in the video. And then this customer had real designer clothing photos that they had for references to generate the video. What they did after that was use the Gemini virtual try-on model to put the clothing on the model that they generated using Imagen. And then after that, they place the model with the clothing on different backgrounds. So the backgrounds that you see here is the frames that they generated for either first to last frame or image to video generation. So there are multiple pieces that they generated, and then use Lyria to generate the background music. So let's see what was the end result. Yeah, so in this example, you can see that with the try-on, it did a great job on fitting the clothing to the model, and then VO3 was able to create movement for the clothing for the ad. One of the questions is how can handle character consistency in the VO3 model? So VO3 does provide the reference to video, so you can provide 3 images to keep the consistency for those references, whether that is the model, whether that is the clothing that you want to keep consistency on. Okay, let me move on the tech commercial. Again, this is very similar. They use Gemini for the ideation, Imagen 4 to generate the characters and scenes, Flash image to add or remove things to those reference images, passing them all to VO 3.1, and then use Gemini Flash TTS for the narration.
Do you remember when you were a child? You'd look at the sky and dream of flying. You'd build entire worlds in your bedroom. There were no limits, no barriers. But then we grow up, and the world teaches us about the long, hard road between the dream and the reality. The years of training, working late nights, the voice that says, maybe one day. And so we learn to put our biggest dreams on a shelf. But that distance is collapsing. Now, the moment you dream it is the moment you can start to make it. That dream you put away, it's time. Dream it, make it.
Yeah, and there's a real commercial that went for Android XR. Okay, the other one, which is also very exciting, is catalog enrichment. So this is pretty common for e-commerce, where if you have a catalog, it is a lot more engaging to have a video than just having a static image of the product. So it's very easy to pass the image through Imagen to add, for example, the painting that is in the wall, and then just expand the image so that it is fully vertical. And then you pass that vertical image to Veo to then generate the two actors that is going to go on set in the couch. This is very common as well for e-commerce, and then you can automate this whole process in pipelines so that you have to do it manually. You can do it systematically. The other, which is for e-commerce, this is also becoming very popular, is if you have multiple images of a product, you can use Veo to generate a product span, which is it does produce kind of like a 3D version of the item. The more images that you have, the better. But this is also becoming pretty good for the catalog. So if you ever wonder on maybe some of the Amazon or other products being generated, some of them has already been used in Veo 3 to do this. But you just need first and last frame, front and back, and then Veo will fill in the gaps. The last two that I want to show is one is the storytelling. Again, you can use Gemini to generate the different images, the reference images, and then Veo to the final output. With this specifically, one of our customers wanted to do localized ads where maybe the content of the computer was going to be different in each scenario, and then the whiteboard will be different. So this was mostly an ad dedicated for a busy video editor. But if you wanted to change the focus to like a financial stressed worker, you can just change the content of the display of the computer and then the content of the whiteboard as well. And then that will just be a change on the Gemini prompts, and then it will go through the same pipeline of generating the video. So you can have multiple versions localized for who is the end consumer of those ads. In terms of pricing, as I mentioned, we have two versions. So you have Veo 3.1, the full model, and then you have Veo 3.1 Fast. With audio, it is more expensive. It is for Veo 3.1, it is double, so it is 40 cents per second. But without audio, it's only 20 cents per second. For Veo Fast, it is 15 cents per second, and without audio is 10 cents per second. There are some features that are not supported in Fast, precisely the reference to video. Right now, that's only supported in the full model, but we're working on trying to integrate that as well. But yeah, and then this is only for Veo 3.1. Veo 2 also has a lot more features. So it wasn't the scope for this call, but I encourage you to just go and look for the documentation and see what is available. With that, I will end the presentation here. Okay, Aziza, if we want to open up for questions, live questions. Anybody can just unmute themselves. And
I'm not sure if Aziza is with us, but yeah, I can help you with that, Gabriel. So do you want me to go all the way with the questions from starting?
Yeah, that will be perfect. Thanks.
All right, just give me a second. All right, so let's start with Francis' question. So he got the question with, how can you handle character consistency within the Veo 3 model?
Yeah, so Veo 3 does, let me go back to this slide with the features. View 3 does provide reference to video. So with reference to video, you can provide up to 3 images. And then in your prompt, you can tell us what from those reference images you want to make inconsistent, whether those are specific items within those images or the actor or whatever you need to make it consistent. But yeah.
All right. So the next question is from MD Elula. So it's, why do we see truncation in image like Y looks like V and lots of spelling error? Is there a way overcome to this?
Yeah, so some of these models are still in preview. So there are things that we're still working on. My recommendation is whenever you see very strong inconsistencies, errors, or anything like that, you can always file a support case in GCP, and then our support team will see what and investigate what the issue is. Sometimes we can also just provide you recommendations, whether maybe some of the other features are better performing better on what your end goal is. So we have a lot of questions, for example, in when do I use Imagen versus using Nano Banana to generate images? So those are where we have a lot more experience on how to get to the end goal, where we can advise you better. But always just try to contact your account manager or file support case if you have any issues.
All right. And also, Gabriel, lots of people love the things you were showing, the image to video and the text to video thing. So they are just saying it's amazing. That's so cool and mind blowing. So I'll just jump to the other question from Utsav. So if it's, do we add the voice, background, and music and sounds? Is it based on prompt as well?
Yes, that's a really good question. So you have to add, it depends. So if it's just sound effects and you don't need any voiceover, then VO3 can generate that. So in the black and white video, for example, we didn't have to add anything besides the audio that was produced for VO, because it was a speech that the character made, and then some of the sound effects was just like the walking, which was also generated. So I didn't need any additional sound. But if I wanted a background sound for that scene, I could have generated using prompts in Lyria, and then just add that on top of the video.
That makes sense. And it's a question from Utsav itself. Can it create the other languages as well?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I know a lot of our training was mainly for English, so that's what is gonna work well. I know the team is also working on Spanish and some others. I wouldn't say that is great for other languages, but you can always use instead of using the speech coming from VO3, you can use Gemini TTS or the text to speech, which already supports multiple languages. So you can produce that separately and then join them together.
All right. So the next question is from the Marco Fernandez. When are full-length films planned to release?
Maybe I need more context on what the full-length film is.
Yeah, even I'm not sure. Marco, if you got some more detailing in your questions, can you please drop it so we can explain it to Gabriel so he can respond you accordingly? I'll be waiting for it, so we can jump to the next question now. Yeah, it's the same, Marco. The one before we're showing, but not this one. I guess they're talking about the video you were showing, but you remember it was only played the audio and not the video.
Oh yeah, I thought we fixed it, but I can go back if we want to rewatch some of those. Just let me know which one.
Yeah, it was with one lady. It was one YouTube video. I'm not sure, but I guess you're talking about the one.
It was with the. Let me go back to that.
Yeah, this one.
Oh, this one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we played it. I think it worked the second time.
Oh yeah, but the question was, when are full-length films planned to release? And the same guy, the question was the ones before were showing on this one. Yeah, so this ad only took 2000 to produce.
Yes, well, I don't know if it was 2000. because I didn't work on this project specifically. What they did was they compare how much it costed the previous ads to being generated with video, and they saw a 95% cost reduction. I don't have the specific numbers, but that is what that customer shared.
All right, perfect. And the next question is from Boris. And what price of that ketchup ad he's asking?
I don't have the price of those ads, but you can kind of like guess by knowing that they have to make retakes, and then most of this has been used via 3.1 with audio, so it was 40 cents per second. So you can estimate kind of like roughly numbers. How much was that?
Okay. And from the next question is from Dhruv. Prompting model to not keep face unchanged still changes. How to avoid it?
Yeah, even if you have a reference image, it does take some liberties, especially whenever you like have to spin things like that, where with a static image you don't have, for example, like a profile for that person. So Vue does try to just fill in the gaps. If you do not like the final result, you can always try to maybe use a different image where we see more of the face, or try to just regenerate it. Sometimes that gets the work done.
Yeah, got it. And the next question is from Mingui. How about indemnity? I don't know in what context is asked.
Yeah, so it's because we do cover indemnity for our models. So especially if for what we have been trained for, we have some. So if you, for example, generate a background music for a film with Lyria, and then you get a lawsuit for copyright. That is where Google will work with you, because that's what we mean by indemnity. We'll work with you to either cover the fees and get a resolution on what the claim is.
Perfect. And the next question is from the Francis again. How can you handle character consistency within the VO3 model?
Yeah, I think we just covered that, which is with using reference to video feature.
Yeah, the one we showed, yeah. And again with from the Utsav, every generation are based on final generation?
No, that's where we have different features for you. So you either do text to video, which is you give us no reference whatsoever, and we just go via your prompt. If you do have an image, you have two options. You can do image to video, or you can do a video extend, which is we know the first frame, we don't know what the last frame is. We're just going to use your prompt to generate that video.
Perfect. And from the next question is from Ronson. When you did the fashion example, will the designer clothes fabric pattern still accurate during the generation to fitting to model and then to video generation?
Yes, that is where we do have a Gemini try-on model where you can give us the model with a full length body and give us the clothing. The try-on model is the one that is going to translate that into the clothing that the final output will use, which is the pattern, the texture, how it's going to be falling across the body. So you want to make that step right. So whenever you have the right consistency on your final output, that is when you use that image as reference to generate the video.
Perfect. And the next question is from Vinay. All the products are available on AI Studio, and for startup, is there a trial credits available?
Yes. So all the models are available in Google AI Studio and Vertex AI. As I mentioned, if your usage is not going to be high, you can always just use Google AI Studio, which is easier to use because they give you an API key and that's it. Like you can start using it in a couple minutes. Vertex AI does include a little bit of a setup because you do not use an API key. You have to use a service account, which is a lot more secure, but it does take a little more time to set up. In Google Studio, you have a 500 videos per day limit. If you are not going to hit that, you can always stay in Google Studio. If you are going to hit that limit and you need to generate more, that's when you migrate to Vertex AI. When you create an account for the first time, you do get, I believe, $300 on free credits. You can use those credits to use Veo.
All right, the next question is from the voice again. Can we create short, fast clip of 7 seconds and then stretch it slowly to longer one?
Yes. However, when you generate a video from text to video, you do have the option of whether that is 4, 6, or 8 seconds. Let me show you where that is. So it's here. When you do reference, time to extend, it will only extend it for 7 seconds, and you cannot do it shorter. But you have to put on the prompt whether like the speed of the camera, where is it gonna go, all of those details you have to put it on your prompt.
Perfect. And the next question is from the Shakir. If I'm building demo of an app where I have the video, I then create the audio separately via TTS. After I combine those, how do I make sure that the video and audio are in sync, that is relevant to a particular scene?
Yeah, for that is unfortunately out of scope for us because you probably have to use other software. A lot of our recommendation is, especially for narration, the narration doesn't really have to line up for someone talking. It's just on top of the video. So for example, the burger with fries ad, it was just a narration in general, and then you have the videos to showcase what the narration is talking about. If you do have to have a dialogue, I will rather encourage you to use the voice that is already generated through Veo, because that will already be in sync.
All right, so I suppose this is the last question we got from the Mingwei. So AI Studio versus Vertex AI. Other than setup and usage, if the model coverage, etc. are the same?
Yes and no. So the models in itself are the same. However, Vertex AI allows you to do a lot more. And one of the main thing is when you go into a very large scale, you will need to reserve capacity. You cannot do that with Google Studio. And we call it provision throughput. If you need to purchase provision throughput saying, hey, I want to generate 10,000 images, 10,000 videos a day, Google AI Studio won't be able to support you. You have to move to Vertex AI, and in Vertex AI, you have different offerings. So for example, provision throughput to guaranteed a certain amount of videos that you can generate a day or per hour. And then you also have a lot more control on where your data is being processed, which region you can send the request to, whether that's a US region, Europe region, or you can use for global endpoint. You just have a lot more controls whenever you migrate to Vertex AI.
All right, perfect. And the last analyst question is from the same guy, Indemnity. If I need to keep prompt history, how to archive but not delete prompt history?
Oh, that's a good question. So in Google AI Studio, the prompt history is already by default stored. I believe their mechanism is that it will generate a folder in Google Drive, and then that is where all the logs are going to be stored. So if you go to the Google AI Studio console, you can actually go and delete those manually if you want to. In Vertex AI, we use logging. So if you log those, you can just use cloud monitoring to retrieve them.
I see that's all the question we got, and you covered it so nicely, Gabriel. Thank you once again a lot for covering all our attendees' confusions and doubts once again. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, folks. So I hope you guys are clear with your doubts and confusion. Again, thank you so much for attending a wonderful session by the Gabriel. That was really, really very insightful for every single person.